Hello, everyone. Yes, it's really nice to meet you. I'm Hye-seong Lee. These days, the animated movie Inside Out 2 seems to be a really hot topic. Has anyone here seen it? Oh, I see some of you have already saw it. I also watched it a few days ago and really enjoyed it. In the movie, the main character keeps saying this. She says, "I'm not good enough." It's the feeling that, in many ways, my existence just isn't enough. We probably feel like we're not enough when we don't meet certain standards. And the higher those standards are, the more we'll feel like we're not enough. But are those standards really for ourselves? Where do those standards actually come from? Today, I'd like to take you back to when I was a young student and share my story. First, let me recall a typical day from my middle and high school years. Morning has come. I wake up exhausted, having fallen asleep at my desk with the fluorescent light still brightly on. I didn't buy myself a bed until I graduated from high school. I was actually afraid that if I slept somewhere soft, I wouldn't be able to get up. On my way to school, I memorized English vocabulary. When I arrive at school, I listen to the lessons and write down every single word the teacher says in my notebook, not missing a thing. There might also be some phrases I scribble down in the middle. This might sound a bit strong, but during this period, I kept gaslighting myself to study a little more. Then comes lunchtime. While all the other students gather in groups and chat as they eat, I keep studying. And then, when the lunch line has gotten much shorter, I take the notebook I was studying from and get in line with it. But I guess my actions must have seemed a bit over the top to some. A friend standing next to me looked at me and said, "If you study this much and still don't get first place in the whole school, that would be embarrassing." It stung, but I didn't even have time to dwell on the hurt. I would just force myself to quickly eat my meal and then sit back down to study again. I was afraid I'd get drowsy after eating, so I tried to eat as little as possible. But since I was always so sleep deprived, I still felt sleepy. So I would spring up from my seat and run to the bathroom, and I would mercilessly splash cold water on the back of my neck. After school, I would take the bus to my cram school, and while waiting at the bus stop, I would solve problems from my workbook. This is actually a candid photo my close friend took of me, and later she uploaded it to social media at the time. So after going to the cram school and attending classes, all the self-study would finally end at 1 a.m. I was a middle school student back then. And until I graduated from high school, I was the only student in my class who didn't have a cell phone. The reason I didn't buy a phone back then was because I didn't really hang out with friends, so I didn't have any reason to contact them. I thought of it as a luxury I couldn't allow myself. The study room closed at 2 a.m., so that's when I'd pack my bag and head home. The study room owner would say, "Hey Song, it's time to go now." But do you think I could sleep comfortably when I got home at 2 a.m.? At that hour, I would cook and eat Paldo's spicy noodles. I thought that even while digesting that, I could stay awake and study a bit more. My father was worried about my health, so he set a rule. After 4 a.m., I had to turn off the lights and go to sleep, no matter what. And he was firm. So honestly, it might sound like something out of a drama, but there were times when I hid under the covers, turned on a desk lamp, and studied. Because I was always sleeping with the lights on, and the stress from the college entrance exams was so intense, I would sometimes get migraines. Whenever I got a migraine, it was always accompanied by nausea, but even when I was suffering in the nurse's office, I kept worrying like this. What if the teacher says something important for the exam during class right now? But no matter how hard I studied, there were always friends who were smarter than me and excelling at the national level. So I always felt like I wasn't enough and studied with a constant sense of being chased. In the end, I was admitted to the business administration department at Seoul National University. Oh, I didn't expect applause at this point, but thank you. I got in, but do you think I was happy? What do you think it was like? First of all, I had to go to the hospital regularly to treat my back and neck, which had been overworked from sitting in a chair for 16 hours every day. Above all, a sense of emptiness overwhelmed me. Was getting into college really the goal of my life? Was this really a goal for a proper life? It was only then that I finally had the time to look back, and I really wondered a lot. What have I been living for? For my mom? For my teachers? And then I was hit with a belated adolescence. Calling it adolescence just couldn't capture the whirlwind of emotions I felt back then. At that time, I needed a new goal. I needed a goal I could throw myself into completely, just like I had lived my life up to that point. Setting a goal and going all in to achieve it. That was the only thing I knew how to do. But after finishing the ordeal of college entrance exams and entering university, no one was telling me to study anymore. Instead, now they were saying I had to be pretty. As soon as we turned 20, suddenly everyone was signing up for the gym, wearing high heels and putting on makeup. So, in the midst of my confusion, my new goal became dieting and taking care of my appearance. So, once again, I started living an extremely ascetic lifestyle. I began carrying a piece of plain chicken breast and a raw cucumber to school every day. I couldn't even make plans to eat out with friends because I was afraid I'd gain weight from eating regular food. While dieting, I also started doing intense weight training at the same time. Just like when I was studying, I pushed myself really hard and worked out with a fierce determination. So when things got really radical, when I was lifting, I even did squats with 100-kilogram plates on each side. That must have put a lot of strain on my knees, right? Especially with a body frame like mine. I thought I wasn't pretty enough as I was. That feeling of not being enough. So I lost weight down to 35 kilograms, which is just unbelievable. That's not a sustainable weight. Less than half a year into my college life, I ended up developing a bad relationship with binge eating. Binge eating would then lead to extreme exercise again. And during this period, once I started exercising, I wouldn't stop until I had jumped rope exactly 10,000 times and run 20 kilometers. 1 hour and 48 minutes, 1 hour and 39 minutes each. I think it took about the same amount of time for the jump rope. To reach 10,000 jumps, it took about an hour and 45 minutes. And back then, when I binged, I ate much more than most adult men. And it was always foods like cream cheese bagels, whipped cream donuts, and cheesecake. I would buy 2 boxes of donuts on a buy one, get one deal and eat them all in one sitting. I still remember that my mom, worried about me, tried to stop me from binge eating, so I would hide Dunkin' Donuts bags in my closet and secretly eat them. One time, I suddenly felt so sad while doing that I just burst into tears. So that day, I went to a cafe and wrote my mom a long letter. Mom, I truly understand the profound reason why you consistently keep nagging me to completely stop eating and diligently lose weight is undoubtedly because you are deeply worried about my overall health and well being. But the reason I keep eating so much like this is not because I am someone who can't control my appetite, but because I feel empty and unstable inside. So please just wait a little while for me to get through this harsh period. I know better than anyone that I shouldn't ruin my health like this, so please just be patient and watch over me without nagging. That's what I said. But I think my mom felt a bit sad after receiving that letter. So, my dear mom told me, I truly and deeply believe that you, my wonderful child, can become an even better and more amazing mother than I am in every conceivable way. In middle and high school, I pushed myself to get into a good university. Once I got to college, I pushed myself to have a good appearance. And during graduation season, I pushed myself to get a good job as a KBS announcer. But who decided what good meant? That standard didn't come from within me. It came from the outside. The universities that others say are good, the looks that others say are good, the jobs that others say are good, the tastes that others say are good. We live under so much pressure. I think it's inevitable. Historically, our country has experienced rapid and intense growth, and we've come to see a life of painful effort and endurance as something natural. Our parents all lived that way too. And since so many people live together on this small piece of land, the competition is fierce and the standards are really high. You have to get grades at a certain level, and you have to get a job that's at least this good. You have to visit all the trendy places these days and post about it on social media. Send your kids to English kindergarten, drive a certain kind of car, carry a certain kind of bag. Maybe thanks to these high standards, Koreans seem to be really good at making just about anything. Every time I listen to New Jeans' new songs, I'm amazed by how hip they are. And our movies and dramas are incredibly well made too. Take bagels and donuts, for example. We make them so well, it's as if they're Korean food. Maybe it's because we've been through hardcore training to survive in a competitive society since we were young. But when you keep setting goals so desperately, achieving them, then setting new ones and achieving those too, over and over again, there are inevitably times when you feel incredibly lonely and anxious. As I endured those times, there was a moment when I realized something for myself. What really matters anyway? What is the true value that's important in life? What should I prioritize as I live my life? In the end, we're all just trying to make a living. But if you lose your health and aren't happy, what meaning is there in a life that's only about achievement? And also, in the end, the advice and opinions others have about my life aren't as important as I thought. Back then, teachers used to say, hey, if you just get into Seoul National University, everything in life will work out, you'll succeed, and you'll make money. But even though I haven't lived that long yet, I already know that's not true. Life just doesn't work that way. Happiness isn't determined by your grades, and success isn't either. Looking at the people around me, the ones who were clear about what they were good at and what they liked, whether it was webtoons or YouTube, those friends are the ones making good money and building successful careers. We are social beings who coexist in this vast network called society, constantly influencing one another. It would be a lie to say that I don't care about what others think of me. To become completely free from the need for validation might be an impossible goal for us. But now, I don't disregard the process of striving toward that goal. I try to take my time and enjoy that process. Even though I used to fill my days off with a packed schedule, reading books and studying English, now I sometimes try to have days where I just do nothing and zone out. I also go on a lot of bakery tours with my friends, and I've started to accept that sometimes I give in to my cravings for food. If I gain weight, I can just exercise and eat healthily again. Whenever I'm having a hard time emotionally, there's something I always repeat to myself. It's a post-it note I stuck on the wall next to the mirror in my house. Don't make yourself an object of evaluation. As for me, I was happier in my 20s than I was in my teens. And now I'm even happier than I was in my 20s. So I really look forward to seeing how much more relaxed and wise I'll become when I grow old. I hope that as you all get older, you too will become someone who can embrace yourself more, and that you live with that hope. Lastly, I'll end by quoting a poem that I love. Your heart will shatter like a wine glass crashing onto the wooden floor. When you hear your young daughter asking you whether she is pretty or not, On one hand, you will want to say this. Of course you are. My daughter, there's no need to even ask. And on the other hand, you will gently hold your beloved daughter's shoulders, look deeply into the beautiful depths of her eyes, and then softly say to her, "You don't need to be pretty. Not if you don't want to be. That's not your obligation. Thank you.